I'm going to dive into our two assistant tools that deal with the Key2Act equipment and service management. So our first one is our scheduled maintenance assist. And what this does is, what the tool is designed to do is supplement the existing scheduled maintenance process within Key2Act, in that the current functionality is that you would not see a new scheduled maintenance call suggested if the previous call within that schedule has not been completed or wasn't completed on time. So the best example is if you have a schedule set up to go on a monthly basis, you create your call for April, but it doesn't get completed. Then it comes to May, and now you're expecting to see a call created for May 1st, but because your April call has not been completed, it's not by default, we're not going to see that May call created when you run the scheduled maintenance process. So I'm going to do just kind of a quick example here. And actually for this, I need to adjust my date just a little bit. We're going to jump ahead to June, even though we're in 2017. And so within the process scheduled maintenance here, I'm actually going to run this now just to show you what the default window would produce here within Key2Act. So we're getting 63 scheduled maintenance calls suggested here. The main one I'm looking at is there's an equipment app 7 that we've got set up, and I can actually dig in and show you how that one looks right now. But just kind of wanted to quickly note that it's not showing on the list here for the default service call creation. So let me pull up that equipment really quick and we'll show you why that wouldn't get created. So here I'm going to go to scheduled maintenance, and then I'm looking at my Stone Ridge maintenance type ID down here. You can see the due date for that is April 26, 2017. So it's got a current call out there right now that has not been completed, that should have been done back in April. And so if I go to this maintenance, we can see this one should be producing a new call every 2 weeks. So since we're creating these as of June 1st, we would expect to see a call out there or a call being created. But since that one that was due on the April 26th has not been completed, we're not getting that new call right now. So then what we can do is go to our maintenance assist tool, which is again under tools, setup, Stone Ridge software, and maintenance assist. And so in here, you can actually schedule this to run automatically whenever you log in. So right now I've just got it set to run, daily on login for this SA user, wait 60 minutes, and then go ahead and run this process. For now, I'm going to run it manually by going to the actions and then run scheduled maintenance. And then this will take just a little bit because it's going through some extra logic of checking all of those maintenance calls, looking at the schedule, and figuring out if there should be a call created. Now the window looks exactly the same like the default Key2Act window does, except now it's pulling in some more information. And we can see here, there's our app 7 equipment, our Stone Ridge task, and there it's creating that, suggesting that we create that new maintenance call for that maintenance task schedule. So that's kind of what I wanted to show. This isn't creating the service calls just like the previous one. It's just suggesting the service calls to create, so you can still go unmark or mark the ones that you do want to create and get those created here. That's the core functionality around that maintenance assist tool. And again, dealing with the scheduled maintenance process and making sure those calls get created appropriately. All right, then we will dive into our final assistant tool that we have today, and that is what we call our tasking assistant. So this one is a tool that is designed to help update tasks related to maintenance contracts. One of our customers had found that they were having to make a lot of changes to contracts on equipment where they're having to either add and remove tasks to that equipment or task lists, making changes to those tasks, such as changing the frequency or the materials related to it, things like that. And what you would have to do in that scenario is for every piece of equipment on that contract, you would have to go in individually and update the characteristics of that contract and those task lists. And this could be a process that could take days to go through if you have very large contracts with lots of pieces of equipment on them. And so we've developed this tool to provide essentially one screen where you can review all equipment and task lists related to a contract and make mass updates and mass changes to that. So here we're going to the cards menu, Stoneridge software, and tasking. I'm going to grab my contract here, just number 5, and then I'm going to go to contract. So this is our task modifications window. And what this is designed to do is show you all the information related to a contract, so we can see each piece of equipment on the blue lines here. For each piece of equipment, we can see the task lists, and then for each task list, we can see the individual tasks for that list. We can see the time and quantity related to those tasks. We can see the frequency of those tasks. This is giving us a breakdown of the current year. So since we're still in 2017, that's what we're seeing here. The values here are saying this is going to create a service call on the 1st of that month. Any of those where the box is blank or has a white background means the service call has not yet been created. Anything where it's blue, the service call has actually been created already. And you can drill back on those to open up the individual service calls if you want. And then you can see the frequency here, the technician assigned to them, lots of information about those tasks and the equipment. Then you also get some information about the contract, and you can do some searching and filtering on this window, which will make a little bit more sense once we dive into the actual actions that you can perform. So here on our action to perform dropdown, we have 12 different things that can be done to the maintenance contracts and the task lists. So we'll quickly go through each of them, and then we'll show you a couple of examples. Modify schedule would allow you to change the frequency of the service calls that are created for that task list. So you can change it to a different frequency based on what you have set up within your system, and then you can choose the starting month as well. We've got mass replace work order, which means if you've got service calls or work orders that are out there, you can replace them with new ones. You can add work orders onto equipment and task lists here. If they haven't been created, you can create them right from within here. You can change the skill level needed for a task or a task list based on what you have set up in your system. You can add tasks or delete you can add task lists, you can delete task lists from a piece of equipment. You can also add tasks to a specific task list. You can delete the tasks on a task list. You can replace the task codes. You can add, replace, or delete materials on a task. So let's look at a couple of examples here. I want to say that I notice I have this piece of equipment, the blower fan here, but it doesn't have any task lists assigned to it. So I'm going to add a task list. And just for some examples, I'm going to choose my equipment inspection here. I get to call it whatever I want on this contract. I'm going to say EQ inspect, and we'll call it 2017. Oops. The task list type I can choose here based on my setup, equipment. And then the frequency will default in. This is a monthly one, schedule every month starting on the 13th. Now, before I make any changes, I do have to select what I want to alter. So I'm going to select this blower fan here. If I wanted to, I could add this to every piece of equipment within this window. It confirms, are you sure? Yes, now they're all gone. So now if I were to go and look at the task list for this piece of equipment, I'd only see those 100 level ones. The last one I'll show really quickly is to add materials to a task. So here I'm going to go ahead and grab an item number. Let's say we need to start using a filter for this task. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's just example. And right here, everything that's got a 102 tasks, I'm going to mark those. Go ahead and click process. And now that the materials are on there, we'll actually see the materials showing up on my task codes down here. Similarly, if I needed to change those at all, I can mark those materials, switch to my replaced materials, choose a different item, go ahead and replace them. So that's great if you start using a different brand of filter or something like that, or maybe a higher quality filter needs to be used. You can do that really quickly rather than having to go into each individual piece of equipment and make those changes.